the last thing I'm going to construct for this scene is a little side table that sits here next to my bed. So I'm gonna start again by doing straight verticals. It's gonna be basically a box that's gonna have a little box within it as well too for the drawer that opens. So I'm going to start by doing a vertical that's a little bit towards the left of the edge of my headboard. So I'm gonna come a little bit towards the left of that. And I'm gonna go shorter than my headboard, and then it's gonna stop when it touches the bottom floor line, or the converging line that creates my floor. And then I'm gonna give myself some space, and I'm gonna do another vertical. So I'm gonna come again towards the left of that vertical I just drew. I don't wanna go all the way over. I wanna leave myself some space to have it converge or come out in 3D space. And again, I wanna make my verticals parallel to the side of my picture plane, or straight up and down as I can get them. So again, I'm making a box that's going back in 3D space, and then I'll have it come out towards the bottom right in the next few steps. So the top of the vertical that I just made here, I'm gonna line that up with my vanishing point on the right, and I'm gonna draw towards the right until those two verticals meet. Extend my other vertical there. So this is the side of my night side table here that is going to be flush with the wall. And then now I'm going to extend this out in 3D space. So I'm going to take all four of these corners and I'm going to bring them out down towards the right. So I'm going to start with the top, rightmost corner. I'm going to line that up with my vanishing point on the left, but I'm going to draw down towards the right. We're going to have some overlap here, but that's okay because we're going to get rid of some of the lines, the construction lines that make them, so that you can see these as solid shapes better. It's a tall night side table, that's okay. Now I'm going to take the top of the leftmost vertical. I'm going to line that up with my vanishing point on the left. I'm going to again draw down towards the right again. So basically I'm just making a big box in 2-point perspective. I'm making it look three-dimensional by using those vanishing points. So now where I let that line hang out or end, I'm going to line that point up with my vanishing point on the right, and I'm going to draw towards the right until those two lines converge. Extend my other line a bit. And then I'm going to erase out these lines in the top plane here so you can see that as a solid shape. The top of my, in this case, nightside table, bedside table. So that would be the top surface where a clock or a lamp could sit on top of. So now I'm going to take these points where the converging lines met for each side of my box here, and I'm going to drop them straight down with verticals. So this point right here where the converging line that I just made met the other converging line, I'm going to do a vertical straight down until in this case it meets the bottom of my paper, goes all the way down. Do the same thing now for this corner here. So the corner where this converging line met that converging line, that point right here. I'm going to do a vertical straight down, close to the bottom of my paper, but not all the way through. So it's this line right here. I'm going to erase out some of this other line work in the back here, just so that you can see this as a solid shape and it doesn't get too confusing for our construction. So erasing out just part of that bed and the headboard there. So now I'm going to finish this box by taking the bottom of the vertical on the far left-hand side here, the point where it met my converging line on the floor. I'm going to line that up to my vanishing point on the left, but I'm going to draw down towards the right again. So So the bottom of that vertical where it met my converging line on the floor lines up to my vanishing point on the left. And I'm going to draw down until it goes off the edge of my paper. And then I'm going to imagine that it would connect eventually with that vertical. But here, the vertical on this side, on the far right-hand side, the bottom of that, again, I can place it wherever I want, but I'm going to do it right where it meets the edge of my bed there. I'm going to line that up to my vanishing point on the right, and I'm going to draw down towards the left. So just like we did when we did our 2-point boxes. Down like so. So I have this big box in 2-point perspective, 3D space. And this is going to be my night side table. So I'm gonna now make a top part, just like we did for our desk in 1-point perspective, that would have a drawer that we could pull out if this was a realistic space. So along this vertical, the leftmost vertical, I can decide how thick I want my tabletop to be. So along there, I'm going to just make a little dot wherever I want that to go. I'm going to line that up to my vanishing point on the left, but again, I'm going to draw it down to the right until those two verticals meet. So basically, I'm making a box within a box. So down until those two verticals meet. And then where that converging line I just drew met the vertical, I'm going to line that up to my vanishing point on the right. And I'm going to draw towards the right until it meets the other vertical that's making the top of this. So that this is my tabletop, and I can put in a drawer by adding in verticals. Again, that stay parallel to the sides of the construction sides of my table. And then the top, I can take the top of that first vertical and the bottom of that first vertical, line them up with my vanishing point on the right, and draw again until those two verticals meet. So one at the top there. Bottom of that vertical is going to line up with my vanishing point on the right. And I'll draw again towards the right until those two meet. So that this is my drawer. Put a big doorknob on, or a drawer knob on there. And again, this is the tabletop surface that I could put a vase on if I wanted, with some flowers, clock. You could add whatever you wanted to make this space a little bit more believable. Now I have to do legs for my side table here. And I'm going to do that the same way I did the legs in 1-point perspective. I'm going to start with the leg that's pretty much done with for me. And again, that's the leg that's closest to me in this 3D space. So it is this center one right here. And all I have to do for that is add verticals. So on that vertical right here, I'm going to move my ruler over a little bit towards the right of that. And I'm going to do a vertical underneath it, underneath that drawer I just made. And it's going to go all the way down to the bottom of my paper. And again, if you have space, you could have it go all the way down until it meets the converging line that goes over. So that's one side. I'm going to lightly shade this one because that's the side that faces kind of out towards my room. Then on the other side of that vertical, I'm going to come with my ruler over towards the left of that, and I'm going to do another vertical that's underneath that drawer and goes down through the bottom of my paper. Again, you could take it all the way down until it meets your other converging line. And I'm going to shade that a little bit darker. So that one's easy because it's pretty much done for me since we left our construction lines in. Now I'm going to do the leg on the side that's closest to my bed here. So I start with verticals again. So I'm going to bring my ruler over a little bit towards the left of that vertical. And again, underneath my drawer, I'm going to do a line that goes underneath that drawer down until it meets the converging line. And I kept that in on purpose because it's going to help me construct this other side that goes back in 3D space. So I'm gonna lightly shade that one because it's on the same side as this side of the leg. The bottom of that, where it met that converging line, that point right there, is gonna line up with my vanishing point on the left, and I'm gonna draw it all the way back to my wall line. So lines up with my vanishing point on the left, and I'm gonna draw back, all the way back until it hits the wall line, which I'm gonna lightly draw back in, back here. Okay, so to end this side, all I have to do is another vertical. So I'm gonna bring my ruler a little bit more towards the left of the vertical that I just made. And again, underneath my drawer, it's gonna go down until it hits that converging line. And then this side, I'm gonna shade a little bit darker because it faces towards the left side of my room. Then I'm gonna take out this little line at the bottom where I drew it a little bit too long. I'm gonna now do the leg that is flush with the wall on the left-hand side here. So I'm gonna bring my ruler from this vertical that started my shape here. I'm gonna bring my ruler to the right of that, and I'm gonna draw a line underneath my drawer top. I'm gonna bring it down until it hits, for me, the bottom of my page there. And then I'm gonna shade this one a little bit darker, because again, it is on the side that is towards the left of my room here. Where that vertical I just drew met my converging line right at the bottom of my paper here for me. I'm gonna take that point, I'm gonna line that up with my vanishing point on the right-hand side, and I'm gonna draw back. I'm not gonna draw through that leg, but I do wanna take it over until it reaches the edge of my bed here, because it's gonna help me construct that back leg. So now to end this leg, all I have to do is draw another vertical that's right of the second vertical that I made there, underneath my drawer, down until it hits that converging line. I'm gonna erase out the little floor line in there. And then I'm gonna lightly shade this one. Because again, it's this side that faces kind of out towards the right. Erase some of my little converging lines here so it's easier to see as a solid shape. I'm gonna leave this line in right here because that's actually the line of my floor. Draw that in a little bit darker. Now to finish the back leg of this night side table, all I have to do is work with the X that I can see right here. And I'm just adding verticals at this point now. So right in the center of that X, right where those two converging lines meet, I'm going to do a vertical that's straight up until it hits the bottom of that drawer. Now I'm going to do verticals on either side, so where this converging line met the line of my wall, I'm going to do a vertical straight up again until it meets the bottom of my drawer. Shade that in darker. And then where this converging line that I created met the side of my bed here, again a vertical straight up until it meets the bottom of my drawer, and that's the one that I'm going to lightly shade. Add in the line of my bed here again that I had erased out earlier. Then I'm going to erase out these converging lines so that you can see this as a solid shape. And that will finish our room in 2-point perspective with a door, set of windows, ceiling, floor, walls, bed, side table, and then of course you can add anything you want to it to make it look more realistic and more believable in terms of it being an actual space.